Alrighty, moving on. Here we go, talking about the Saints, and hopefully we can get a little bit more inside information. There's two. Is there only two? Two big quarterback battles going on. Obviously, we'll know more come training camp, but we want to get the first look, the first side. We want to be the first to call it, obviously. But let's see here. Talking about the Saints, we know Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, who's going to win the starting job first year without Drew Brees. So let's see what kind of the stars, the leaders, the vets are saying here on the Saints and what they're looking like at the quarterback competition. Hopefully we get some good insight on this. But here we go. Cam Jordan, defensive end for the Saints, says it hurts not having Drew Brees around, but Saints will be okay. Quote, there's so much veteran core leadership on our team, and that is truly it. They do have, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Cameron Jordan, so they do have some nice pieces, but we also know the quarterback is the most important position in the NFL. You're not winning without a good quarterback. We know this, folks. I mean, there's countless examples of this. Tim Tebow obviously comes into mind. All right, let's see what Cameron Jordan is saying here, and hopefully we can get a good maybe first glimpse. Von Miller's kind of tight-lipped, but he kind of, speaks on Drew Lock a little bit more than he speaks on Teddy Bridgewater. So maybe just the veterans are leaning towards more Drew Lock just because he's been there a little bit longer. So we'll see if kind of Cameron Jordan's kind of the same way, maybe talking about Taysom Hill just a little bit more because he's been there a little bit longer than Jameis Winston has. So let's see what we get. Saints pass rusher Cameron Jordan, who usually doesn't reserve his opinion on any topic, joined NFL Network's Good Morning Football Tuesday and talked up both quarterbacks, refusing to hint at who he thinks might win the job. Damn it! Can somebody just tell us? Can somebody just say it like it is, okay, and live with it? Damn it. We know that's not what it's supposed to be, but this is what we do, folks. We talk about it. We take everybody's words and try to kind of get down to their true meaning on what they're feeling inside. Darn it. So, I guess there goes that, but let's see what he says. Maybe there's a hint that we can decipher. We'll see. Quote, at the end of the day, it's all about who will put us in the best position to win. What a boilerplate thing to say. Quote, I do know that we have a baller in Jameis Winston, a guy who can release that thing in the air. And yes, sir, folks, he threw for 5,000 yards. He threw for 5,000 yards, folks. I mean, that will always hold a huge special place in our heart, folks. When we judge quarterbacks, if you have a 5,000-yard season in the 16-game schedule, now that's gone, folks. It's unfortunate. We can't really judge 5,000 yards like that anymore because there's an extra game. 5,000 yards are going to be oversaturated now and not really mean that much. So we are going to have to kind of figure out a new metric. It may not come year one, but 5 years of a sample size, or like, okay, maybe 5,500 yards is kind of the new wave. So we'll see how all that plays out, but we're not going to be that impressed with 5,000-yard seasons anymore. And guess who doesn't have a 5,000-yard season that will never get a good 5,000-yard season? Aaron Rodgers, folks. Once again, how can we say he's the greatest of all time? I don't know. All right, but back here, quote, it's bombs in Jameis's way. He's going to take the deep shots, take a lot of deep throws, and at the same time, he's had a year under Sean's tutelage in watching Drew Brees. So he's only going to get better in my mind, and that's exactly what we've been saying. We wanted Jameis to learn two things from Drew Brees. How just to be a vocal leader, breaking down the huddle, kind of getting the guys to rally behind you. I mean, every time Drew Brees breaks down a huddle, I'm getting goosebumps, folks. When Jameis Winston breaks down a huddle, I am bursting out with laughter. Eating a W, the infamous speech. I mean, he will never live that down. So Jameis Winston holds two spots in our heart: the 5,000-yard season, and then the freaking eat a W season, or the eat a W speech. And that's why it's just so hard. It's just like, I don't know where to judge this man. I truly don't. So we hope he learns something under Drew Brees, and then obviously, so the leadership, and then just how to play the game, how to be smart with the football. Drew Brees doesn't really turn over the ball like that. He's thrown for 5,000 yards while not throwing for 30 interceptions. So that's what we wanted him to learn under Drew Brees, under Sean Payton. Yeah, I mean, he's head coach. I mean, he can coach you up a little bit, but we really just wanted him to learn under Drew Brees. So we'll see how much he took away year one. It was only 1 year, truly unfortunate. Kind of wish Drew Brees stuck around one more year just so he had another chance at a ring and then to kind of, I don't want to say train, but to kind of mentor, that's the word we're looking for, mentor Jameis Winston one more year. Because, folks, if you throw for 5,000 yards, you're good. You're good. You're good in this league. You could be molded a little bit. So we'll see how much he took away from Drew Brees year one. And if he doesn't win the starting job this year, we can kind of take that to mean he didn't really learn that much. So pressure is on for Jameis, sink or swim. We'll see what he does here in training camp. All right, back to the quote here by Cameron Jordan. Quote, and at the same time, he's had a year under Sean's tutelage and watching Drew Brees, so he's only going to get better in my mind. Then you talk about Taysom, and after last year we went 3-1 with him, so we can win at a high clip with him. It's going to be fun and interesting to see who ends up being the lead quarterback. If that is such a discussion, it's beyond the pay grade, and I like to say not many things are beyond my pay grade. So Cam Jordan not really giving any insight, hyping up both of these kind of quarterbacks because he knows one of them will be the leader and one will be the backup. So obviously you're going to be praising up both of them. But what we liked from Taysom Hill, exactly what he said. Hey, 3-1 last season under his helm, and we saw Taysom Hill really make all the throws. He was making the deep throws. He was making the corners, the post, tight coverage, wide open coverage, dumping the ball off screens, all like that. He was hitting all those throws. And what Taysom Hill is, he's a great dual threat quarterback, folks. He's great at it. We mentioned him in the same conversation as Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson. I think he's faster than Ryan Tannehill. I don't know if he's faster than Russell Wilson, but I mean, they're like equally level. So him and Russell Wilson and kind of Patrick Mahomes, I really think are all the same speed. Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, I think are a little bit faster than those quarterbacks. But I mean, he's still top 5 of great dual threat quarterbacks in this league. So Jameis Winston, not so much. He's not a real runner. He's not a real kind of threat running the ball. So that's what we liked about Taysom Hill. And then like we said about Jameis Winston, the 5,000-yard season. Absolutely got to respect it. So we'll see who wins the starting job. This is going to be this quarterback competition is a lot more interesting to me than the Broncos, because I really think Drew Lock just has no place. Unfortunately, I mean, we saw it. We saw what he did last year. He didn't learn. It's unfortunate. I don't know if we give him another season. So we'll see how that goes, but I think this one's going to be absolute real tight, real close. And I hope Sean Payton isn't like, well, Taysom Hill can still be the tight end and we can still have him on the field, so I guess we'll just go with Jameis Winston by default. I hope that's not what we get. We've seen Taysom Hill be at that tight end position with Drew Brees at the helm. So I just hope it doesn't go like that, because I really want Taysom Hill to have a real great chance, a real equal opportunity to go out and win the starting job, because I think he kind of deserves it a little bit. So, all right, interesting there. And then I want to say this last thing, and then we can read one more quote. What do we get? Oh, 2 more quotes. Great. But I want to say this last thing about Jameis Winston. I think he was a little timid with the ball, throwing the ball, because he knows that interception is the biggest knock on him, folks. So he knows, hey, maybe I don't want to make this tight throw. I don't want to attempt this tight throw because it could get picked. It could also get caught, and it could also fall incomplete. But there is a slight chance it could be picked. How I have to fit this ball in for a chance at a completion, and I know once I start throwing an interception, that's going to be plastered all over the media. Well, here comes Jameis Winston, the start of the 30 picks, the start of the 40 picks. Oh my God, Jameis Winston, 1 pick in the first game. He's on track for 50 picks this season. That's what's going to be the headline in the media, folks, and he knows that. That's why he's not a starter in this league. It's not the yards, it's not the touchdowns, it's the interceptions. It's not even the completion percentage. He's got great completion percentage as well. It's just the interceptions that lead to mediocre seasons. He knows that, folks. I think he's going to be a little bit timid, and we are going to break that down once we kind of go deep into our kind of, season reset as we get closer to the NFL season, where we look at the Saints and we can kind of break down all of his passes, because he did get into some games last year, so we can break all those throws down. But back here to the quote here. All right, let's read the paragraph before it to get context. Here we go. For a defender like Jordan, the biggest void Brees' retirement could create is in the leadership column. The quarterback has been the unquestioned captain for so long that seeing a new leader under center. Quote, I never expected him to retire. Honestly, I just thought he was going to retire when his kids entered the league. But when you think about what he's meant to the team, what he's meant to the city for so long, it's sort of weird to know that he's no longer going to be a part of the locker room. I guess it hasn't settled in because we haven't hit training camp yet. I think that's where you're going to feel the biggest difference is those hot New Orleans training camps where it's 98 degrees and 10% humidity. It just rained that morning, and yet at the end of practice, you've still got to go 1v1s on 2-minute drills to put it in perspective. And you still probably have conditioning after, and you see Drew in the backfield. That's where it's going to switch up to know that now we're cultivating a different quarterback leader. So once again, Jameis Winston, do the best you can to emulate what you saw from Drew Brees to try to make it not that big of a difference. And once again, just to win over the locker room. Leadership is huge in this league, folks. Think about all the great quarterbacks. Are they great leaders? Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers is a little bit of an exception. But these quarterbacks who win Super Bowls, they are great leaders. We just heard Russell Wilson giving everybody credit in that last article. It's a real thing, folks. Leadership is huge, folks. All right, last quote here. For Jordan, other leaders must emerge, and he noted several defenders who can help fill the void. Quote, I think we have so much established in our locker room already. I think our defensive leaders from Malcolm Jenkins to Demario Davis to Marshawn Lattimore to Marcus Davenport to myself will carry the defense over. I think guys who've been growing through our offensive schemes, Traquan Smith, the whole offensive line just toted. There's so much veteran core leadership on the team. I do think it hurts not having Brees, but I definitely think we're poised to be okay in terms of how we go about our leadership operation. So love hearing that. We'll see. It's, you can, you say something, but, actually, obviously actions speak louder than words. So we'll see how this Saints team operates, who's going to kind of step up and be the main core leader, who's going to win the starting quarterback job, and how much of a decline or an improvement is this Saints team going to be without Drew Brees? Only time will tell, and we'll know more this season, obviously.